What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Simply Betty, and if you are just tuning in to my channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I am back. So I am here to show you the pros and cons of a busy bee worker or a worker versus a free-spirited person. So if you did watch last week's video, thank you. This week's video is not going to be long whatsoever. It's going to be a quick video. You have to excuse my appearance. I look like this is like literally one of my mom get-ups where I wear a wig, a baseball cap, and a t-shirt. I really like this shirt. This is my Naruto shirt. But if you're here to see the pros and cons of a busy worker versus a free-spirited person, and there is a third option that I will give you guys later on in the video. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So if you are a busy bee person, busy bee worker, I mean one of those people who just work to achieve an ultimate goal that they want their life to be, and then you retire in your later years and then you just enjoy the rest of your life, versus a free-spirited person who just enjoys life regardless of what the circumstances are and just go about their everyday. You know, you never know when your life is going to come to an end, so I just want to enjoy it. You only get one life to live. You live every day, so why not enjoy it every day? And a lot of times those two type of personalities or types of thinkers clash without seeing the benefits of each other until later years. So I am here to show you the pros and cons of a busy bee worker or a worker versus a free-spirited person. For you busy bee or you workers, your pros are you're committed. You have no issues with commitments. Once you make a plan, you have a goal, whatever it is, you set that plan in motion, you commit to it. You have no issues there. You also are detailed at planning. You have everything listed out step by step. You schedule your life. Planners or workers, and I was a worker where I planned out how my life was going to go. I was going to graduate high school, I was going to go to college for 4 years for business, and then I was going to, once I graduated college, go into the corporate world, work, buy a house by the age of 25. Marriage wasn't necessarily on the menu for me back then because I did not want to get married, because I didn't see a lot of marriages that lasted long without seeing people just getting remarried by the time they got married the second or third time, then they had more successful marriage. So I didn't have great examples at first of marriages lasting, so I didn't want to be married and I didn't want to have kids. So yeah, that just tied right along into it. But life throws curveballs. I am now married and I have a child, so, and I don't work in the corporate world. I quit the corporate job a couple of years back, and I don't have a house, and I'm over the age of 25, and I did not go to school for business management. I started off in school for business management, but then I quickly changed that idea because it was literally a dream that wasn't mine. Workers do plan to stay together. Again, they don't have issues with commitments, so I do see a lot of those marriages last. They're also great providers, and with them being great providers, that means they're very dependable. You're working, so there's no time for play. There's not that much time for error. So you're constantly stacking up your finances for that ultimate goal, whether it's a house, whether it's retirement, whatever the case may be. You know, you're a very dependable person. The downside to a worker is you're overworked. And a lot of times when you're being overworked, you're exhausted and you're unhappy. That I can't attest to. I was definitely overworked, definitely exhausted, and I was definitely unhappy because I wasn't working in the sense where I was in the middle class. I was considered lower class or poverty line. So I felt like I was just constantly working with nothing to show for. And I'm trying to work so hard to accomplish this goal or this dream, and it was just like it was a never-ending grind haul. It just felt unattainable, and I was exhausted and I felt defeated. And a lot of times people like that, they tended to work themselves to death. And I can say a lot of the workers that I did grow up around and talk to in later years, they did have regrets that they didn't enjoy life as much. So I do see that workers do tend to push others, or especially the younger generation, to enjoy their life more versus than working themselves to death, because they see it in themselves. They saw it, you know, they work their lives away and then they have nothing to show for it. Yeah, they may have a nice house that maybe are almost paid off, or these nice cars that are paid and all these things, but you know, you can't go hiking as much as you would like to, or you might not be able to hike at all because your knees are probably bad. You probably have hip replacements and just all these things and all these problems, and now you have health concerns, and now you have to spend your retirement trying to keep yourself busy, because a lot of those workers I do see, once they retire, some of them can die early or soon after retirement because they were so busy working and keeping themselves occupied that now when they have absolutely nothing to do, it's just like you're sitting there waiting for death to come. So it can be kind of depressing. So then they look at those who are free-spirited, who just go with the wind. Free-spirited people are absolutely fun. A lot of times they're more happy than others because they don't really have a lot of worries in life. They just roll with the punches. They just go wherever life takes them. And a lot of times free-spirited people that I come across, and again, these are my opinions, they travel more, they experience life more, they go out and they see the world. They go to places they would have never dreamed of going. They're very knowledgeable about deals. Free-spirited people can tell you where to get the best deals when it comes to traveling or going to places or going to restaurants and things like that. Free-spirited people who just travel a lot, they're the ones to ask where to get the great deals. Now, not saying that free-spirited people do not work, because most of them do. A lot of times they probably just work to finance their lifestyle, and that's what I like about free-spirited people. There's not an ultimate goal. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but that can also be a downfall, because sometimes free-spirited are just broke. They don't have the extra income to handle major crises. They're not looking for money to put a down payment on a house. Sometimes free-spirited people actually have like those traveling houses, like the little miniature homes or mobile homes, or they might live on cruise ships and stuff like that. So they're not bogged down. They're not necessarily stationary in one place for too long. So with that being said, that means they don't have something to pass down to their children. Whereas a worker will buy a house, buy land, some of them, not all. There are exceptions to these rules, but you know, they try to create generational wealth. I'm working this hard so that my children don't have to work as hard when they get older. Where free-spirited people, they're just like, eh. And a lot of times, you know, opposite attracts. So free-spirited and a planner will go very well together. But free-spirited people also have regrets as well. They regret that they didn't take life as serious, and they didn't plan for the worst to come later on in life. They didn't think about, okay, you know, I've traveled all my life, I'm gonna just do that until I'm dead and gone. But then when the grandkids come along, now it's time like, oh snap, okay, now I really have to buckle down a little bit more. But the great thing about a free-spirited person, they have the greatest stories to tell you, things that they can pass down that is just great knowledge to pass down from generations to come, for those who would like to travel and like to see the world and just go to different places. Free-spirited people are really big dreamers, and they look at the world in a very different perspective versus a worker that I found. Workers tend to see, almost like a tunnel vision. You know, they have a straight, clear line of what they want to get to, and they just keep digging and digging and digging and digging at it until they achieve that goal. Whereas free-spirited, they're looking at it from a broader perspective, and they're just like, okay, I have a 360 view of pretty much of things that I want to accomplish in life, so I'm knocking things off of my bucket list. What people don't realize is there is a third option, and I call that goal-oriented person. It's basically where it's a combination of both a busy bee worker and a free-spirited person. And I like to put myself into this category. I was a busy bee worker in the earlier years of my life, high school, college, and then I went to my free-spirited phase. And then, you know, life throws curveballs at you, and I just finally figured out a way that I can coexist comfortably where I'm not driving myself crazy nor being completely broke at the same time. So a goal-oriented person to me is someone who works for a goal. Once they accomplish a goal, they take a break and they hit the reset button. And what that means is when you hit the reset button, you then plan another goal and you work towards that goal. That for me has been the easiest way to get through the last 5 years of my life. I kid you not. It's been so much better since I tried incorporated being a busy bee person and a free-spirited person. I do like to think of myself more so on the free-spirited trait, but when the time comes and it's just push come to shove, my busy bee can switch on and it's no problems. The only issue with a goal-oriented person, you can sway either back to being a busy bee, or you can sway back to being a free-spirited person for too long. You know, being goal-oriented, you know, you are very well put together, optimistic, you work for your goals, you're well-rested, you pretty much don't have any regrets. You still can fulfill your thrill-seeking moments, and you are not scared to take plunges. The only downfall is, again, you can either go back to a busy bee worker, or you can go back to being a free-spirited person for too long, and there are a lot of mistakes along the way, you know. So being goal-oriented, you're going to stumble a lot because you're trying to figure out how to balance being a busy bee and a free-spirited person. Being a busy bee, if you fumble, you know, you have plans and contingencies and backup plans, whereas a free-spirited person, if you fumble, you just fumble and you just keep going. There's no contingencies, there's no whatever backup plans, no spare tires, none of that. It's just, okay, I failed, whatever, let's just keep the party going. Goal-oriented, you're going to make those mistakes, you're going to learn from those mistakes, you're going to make a plan, and you're going to keep going. So I do like the third option. Please hit me in the comment section below. I would expound a little bit more on these topics, but again, I said this wasn't going to be a long video, and as I promised, it is not going to be a long video. I have bags underneath my eyes, I am sleepy, I am tired, my brain is scrambled, I can't think clearly. That is why I'm drinking my coffee, and this is a cute little mug that I got from Groupon. So without further ado, this is your girl, Simply Betty. I am literally my battery's about to die, so this is literally about to be it. So until next time, I will see you guys later. Mwah. And for those of you who watched the video last week, I appreciate you guys. I know it was a long video. I didn't want it to be that long, but there was no way that I could just literally cut everything or make it into a 2-part without me having to go back and record more.